right, I should be live, and I think you should be able to hear my audio. I am definitely not the best at tech, but I try not to make that same mistake twice. All right, so interesting day today, right? We actually got a nice back-to-back green candle on pretty much all the indices, right? So I will flash that. There was a really interesting comment about the IWM. Look, personally, I don't look at the Russell much. I was a little surprised to see how tough the Russell looked, even though we've actually been succeeding and trading some Russell stocks and doing really well, right? SoundHound comes to mind very quickly, right? So it was an interesting call out. Another thing I thought that was worth bringing up was gold and precious minerals. So that did come up on the Discord today. It made me look at TMC actually, and TMC has a pretty good setup going on. I've talked about NAC a couple times. I know it had a tough day today, but it actually isn't too bad overall, right? But yeah, I'm basically gonna do some overall market thoughts. I'll take a look at a couple tickers that are in my head, and then if you have any viewer comments, just throw them in the chat. All right. So yeah, hey, let's get into this real quick. All right. So real quick, just in case you've never watched, what are we gonna do? We're gonna look at the daily and the weekly. With the indices, I'm gonna zoom out and I'll look at the monthly and the quarterly as well. And then we have our five moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines. And then we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicator. So I'm going to move the chart to regular hours real quick. So again, one thing we talked about on, for sure the last live, I know on a couple other of the recent videos I've made, but the NASDAQ, the S&P 500, and the Dow Jones have been doing one good candle and then a bad one. Good one, bad one, good one, bad one. That was the first kind of 1-2. That was the better 1-2 because there was a nice gap up right there. This was a not bad 1-2. Today wasn't a bad day. There were definitely some tickers that did better today than yesterday. On the Discord yesterday, one thing I said was, look, yesterday was a good day. Yesterday you can see was a 0.87 day on the Nasdaq, and I know that seems relatively small, but that's pretty monster actually for an index. 0.3 is normal, so to be near 0.9, that's 3x higher than I'm expecting, right? So to me, yesterday was a weird one. Today, and I mean, literally, the percentages are about the same. Actually, yesterday was better percent-wise, right? Yesterday was a 0.87. Today was a 0.85. But today was a nice day, and I think it was echoed across a couple tickers, right? When we look at the S&P 500, we actually have a prettier 1, 2, 3 right here, right? But more than anything, this one came to the moving averages. That was the big thing. And then the DJ30, same thing. There's actually 3 moving averages here, but that's kind of the theme across those right there, right? So, real quick, this is working, right? I'm for sure live here. I think so. Yeah, it looks like I'm live. Okay, good. Yes, I am live. I can see it. Cool. Sorry. So that's at least what we were looking for. Really, what's coming up next is a little 50-50 in my book. All right. On any other normal circumstances, I would say, hey, look, we've tried to do it here. We're gonna try it again. I'm glad that we're trying so close. I just don't know if we're going to break 2 moving averages right now, right? I'm glad we got back to it. You can see we literally wicked it almost to the penny right there on NASDAQ, right? But man, getting over 2 moving averages is really tough, especially when you're actually under all 5, and these are going to be the first 2 you regain, right? So the important thing to keep calling out is it's arguably never been confirmed that we've lost the 200 moving average, all right? Again, there were some bad candles, but no crazy confirmations. This 1, 2, 3 is an interesting one because you can say maybe it confirms the loss of the 200. To me, it really just confirmed the inability to break that 8 and the 20, I think. So again, confirmation's a little bit more subjective than like breaking or losing a line, right? But I'm still not really seeing a monster confirmation just yet here, right? But again, if each of the indices tomorrow can get over the cluster, there's a nice channel up, right? When you look at the S&P 500, there's a nice channel up, right? When you look at the Dow Jones, there's a nice channel up, right? And I would arguably say that the Dow Jones is the nicest of the channels up. So hey, maybe looking at a couple Dow Jones stocks might be an interesting thing to do tomorrow, right? So I would say Nasdaq and S&P 500 behind that. Otherwise, look, the last thing we want to do is lose 50% of Monday, right? That's respectfully, each of their candles are going to be different, but Monday was kind of the first good day and of this little climb, right? Don't go below 50% of Monday. That would be really really scary, and that would be my kind of index thought. All right. Real quick, I'm never here to talk about politics. I'm never here pretending I know a lot about like economic impacts and things like that. Today is day one of the tariffs, right? Today is the day that they went into effect. I think two things. Number one, it really, really doesn't matter if the world likes it or doesn't like it, right? The stock market does not always reflect what's happening in the world. What the stock market cares is, are we done? Is Trump done adding more? Are other countries, other nations, other super PACs, whatever, are they going to form? Are they going to do retaliations? This, that, and those, right? So to me, I care much less about how the tariffs impact us day to day. I care about the uncertainty going away. All right. And in some ways, today is the first step in uncertainty going away, right? It's been signed, it's been in effect. Let's see who reacts immediately. Hopefully there's no like crazy lag in the hopefully there's no like threat till finally it happens, right? It's I'm assuming going to be a rip of a band-aid or something, right? But once the uncertainty goes away, that will matter way more than if the tariffs are good or bad, to me, to the middle class, to the upper class, lower class, whatever, right? Market just doesn't like uncertainty. So in some ways, I know a lot of people are getting upset that the tariffs started today. I'm kind of wondering if today is step one towards good. All right. The very last thing I'm going to do on this index review, and then I'll get into a couple tickers I wanted to talk about. I wanted to zoom out a little bit. All right. So normally I stop at the weekly when I zoom out. Right. Look, at the minimum, I'm glad this week is not confirming last week, right? Last week was a scary candle under the 50. It was followed by two dojis. It was a scary candle under the 50 on the S&P 500, and it was a scary candle basically to the 50 on the Dow Jones, right? So this is a good weekly across all of them. What really mattered was Tuesday, well, Monday, I guess, right? But it was the start of a new monthly candle, and it was the start of a new quarterly candle. Literally today I've been slammed with a bunch of these like quarterly reviews, right? So I know the pressures of quarters, but look, the quarter still hasn't even come down to the 8 moving average, right? When we look at the monthly definitely is below the 8, but look, we've never used the 20 since back in 23, right? Generally you lose it, you bounce and you come back, right? So there, and in a lot of ways we're at least starting the month by saying, hey, maybe we didn't lose the 20 actually, right? There's still no, it's just a single candle under it, right? So this month is starting off significantly better, honestly, than I expected. That's number one. And that's a good thing if you're looking for bullish, right? Am I here saying recovery and this and that? No, right? We still need to get back over at least a few more, let alone all 5 is really what I want, right? But I think as the S&P 500 can start climbing over the 200, as the Nasdaq can start climbing over the 200, that's where maybe we'll start getting a little more optimistic as we're thinking day to day, all right? But easy thing to say is this month started out well. This week started well. This quarter started well. This month started well, and that's important, right? And obviously you just saw the weeklies. The weekly started well as well, all right? So I think that's a good index review right there. I'm going to get into a couple tickers. Really, I have a pretty hard stop today. I'm trying to do my best to figure out what time it is right now, actually. Okay, cool. That was only 10 minutes. So the first one, like I said, we were talking about minerals and gold today. I did not know that this ended that well. TMC with a really nice candle, and look what I like about it. The third line says the high of the day was 195. That's to the penny what we closed on. I do love it when the candle has no wick on the top and the high of the day is the close of the day. That's actually a really strong candle right there. Again, it is not the best of markets. And obviously we've had a good couple days and this and that, right? But where I would normally be more confident in a better market, I'm at least a little bit weary here. But hey, TMC's actually been doing more good than bad here, right? It's been climbing nicely instead of dropping like we've seen a lot of other stocks. Hey, it at least just stayed flat. You know, I don't love flat, but flat's better than down. And yeah, like I said, today was a nice day. We're back over all the moving averages. We actually got over a resistance line that I had as well, right? So my next line is up at 260, actually. I would say good things are here as long as this can hold one like 75, give or take. And then let me see if it's worth calling out. Yeah, let's at least call out 230. I think 230 is at least worth calling out, but yeah, 260 is where my next line is. So, hey, TMC does actually look pretty interesting. NAC is one we've been talking about and covered. Look, I know today doesn't look like a good day, right? I mean, obviously that's a big bad minus 17. We were all the way up here, now we're down here, right? But look, we've been climbing the 8 and the 20, right? And this was easily the furthest, evacuation, the furthest escape from the 8, right? What this has been doing is it goes away from the 8 and back down to it, away from the 8 and back down to it, away and back down, away and back down, right? So in a lot of ways, this was the first attempt at going away and horizontally to it. It just couldn't make the bounce up and it came down. But look, RSI is pretty high. I mean, it looked like it was time for a little bit of a cool down. All right. I think as long as we can hold the 20, that would be great. Really, as long as we stay over 82 cents, I think that'll be okay, right? But I think the immediate thing to do is, hey, if we can get back into like that 97-cent range, I think good things can kind of start coming back. Obviously, we need to get back over the 8 moving average to really make it matter, right? But yeah, I know it's easy to look at this and get scared, but as long as we're over 82 cents, 83 cents, I think that'll be okay. Truth be told, I'd love to never go below 0.88 and just hold right there, all right? So, cool. What were a couple other stocks? I saw SoundHound have a decent day today. Look, this is trying to not lose the 200 moving average right now, right? So that's at least a decent what's happening right now. A couple candles under it, but none of them were meaningful by any means. Definitely doesn't confirm this, even though that was a gap down too, right? That's still just a doji for me, and it doesn't really scream bad things, right? What was another tick? Oh, you know what caught my eye was Rocket. So Rocket Mortgage, they just bought Mr. Cooper. My mortgage is actually owned by Mr. Cooper. I got an email after market close from Mr. Cooper saying, hey, we've just been, joined forces and blah, blah, blah. So it seems like the market liked the acquisition, right? They liked the news yesterday. They got a nice little gap up and continuation today. Look, if this can get over the 200 moving average, there's a lot of green, 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 red, 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 right? So there is actually a lot to like around 1540. Nice, 1542. That's the alert I'm going to be setting here. Rocket Mortgage, there's an interesting bit of news here. Like I said, there's an acquisition. Look, again, I talk about the FMOC and rates and stuff like that. The one interesting thing is as those rates have been going down, mortgage rates have actually been kind of staying. You know what I mean? So I don't want to say more than I know because, hey, for all I know, it's been going down since the last time I've actually looked, right? But people seem to, like I look, at the minimum, I think the last 2 days say people seem to like the news. Maybe it's a correlation with the market, but I think this one's worth the watch, and you saw me set the alert. I'm trying to get over all the moving averages. Oops. Over there. When you look at the weekly, it's the exact same cluster. And if you can get over on the daily, you can get over on the weekly. And then, yeah, there's a lot of red, red, red to green, green, green that might actually take this back towards that IPO area, right? So, what's another ticker that caught my eye? I don't see anything in the chat, actually. So, I'm not going to call out anything there. I've got about 15 minutes. Let me grab Webull real quick. See if anything is jumping out. Oh, you know what? Let me look at Bitcoin. I saw some people talking about Bitcoin and then the mining stocks. So look, Bitcoin to US. Oops, what is this? Nah, that's not a good stock. That's really low volume too. Sometimes typos actually bring really good charts. You never know. So look, Bitcoin obviously went from all-time highs all the way down to the 200 moving average. That 200 moving average has now caught us 3 times, right? You hear me say it all the time. This is a hard line to break up, and it's a very hard one to lose down, right? So we've bounced not over the 20, bounced not really well over the 20, one more time trying to bounce and get over the 20, right? So the next immediate path is going to be basically 89,000. If it breaks 89,000, I think we can use that 92.5. I think 92.5 is probably where that 100 moving average is going to come down to over the next couple days, right? But that would be a real nice path right there, right? And you can see the MACD and RSI are trying to pick up a little bit. And I think we can see that with some of the mining stuff. Ooh, excuse me, Hut. Looks like it is continuing a little bit after hours, nothing crazy, but Hut is at least worth your eyes because that's a nice little channel all the way up to almost 17 right there. Honestly, I'll set that alert. Why not? I think 1360. That's basically where we're at after hours right now, actually. From there, I know I looked at Marathon. Marathon, not as pretty, but hey, if we can get over that 8 and the 20, there is a nice little ride up to 15 right there. I looked at Wolf. Wolf, again, not quite just yet, but get me over that 20 moving average, and yeah, that can go all the way up to right there, right? So, and again, just like the Bitcoin chart landed on the 200, there's been a couple support lines that we've seen right there. We'll take a look at Riot. Again, Riot, this one's not a bad one, actually. Maybe you can set the alert around 823, 824. That's basically where we're trying to hover around after hours. There's a good move all the way up to almost 10, actually. You know what? I'll set that alert. I will. Let's do 827. Why not? A couple cents over it. Cool. What's another Bitcoin ticker? Any's another one. Oh, wow. Look at Any do its thing, right? So ideally, Any is a representation of what we just saw on the other ones that hadn't set up, right? There were some that were still under that 8 and the 20. That's a good little showing that hey, it might be an interesting time to look at the Bitcoin ticker. So I'll come into the Discord. Yeah, look, again, gold and crypto, we talked about that. I talked about that. There's some fake out talks. TMC, I mentioned that one right in the morning, actually, around 9 a.m. my time. It's now 1 o'clock, right? So that actually had a pretty good day. I think that's not bad right here. I'll do a market thing. We'll do a little bit of Bitcoin stuff, and then a couple of the mining stocks in terms of actually minerals, not crypto. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions.